Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today is kind of a Debbie Downer. We're going to be talking about our miscarriage story.
Yeah.
We did a post on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, I have the link to our Instagram down below in the description, so go follow us. We post on our story quite a bit. Mostly Max doing cute stuff, so
Pretty much.
Yeah, make sure you're following us there. Let's get into it.
I wanna stay in your sunlight. I wanna wake up with you by my side. Without you there is no tomorrow. We could be in for the best ride. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you there is no tomorrow.
So we started trying to get pregnant April, May, around there, maybe a little bit before is when we decided, and I got my birth control out. I had an IUD. So we tested positive May 20th. Super excited.
Yeah, very excited.
Very excited. I kind of surprised Chris. We were like vlogging it all. We told my parents, we told Chris's parents. Max just kept like looking at my tummy and was like, baby, baby. He didn't really know then. Now he knows a little bit more. Whenever he sees a baby, he's like, home. He wants to bring a baby home. So I'm like, maybe one day we will. So we scheduled our appointment for like the first ultrasound to make sure everything's okay, and then they just like confirm the pregnancy and blah blah blah. So at our office they do it like between 8 and 10 weeks just to make sure you're further along, and that way they don't have to do a vaginal ultrasound and all that. So we went in super excited. Probably it was like middle of June we went in, like the week of the 20th I think. Maybe the week before, I don't know. We took a little video that I'm going to show you guys after we talk a little bit more about it. But so we went in, they started like doing the ultrasound like on my stomach, and then she's like, well, the baby's not as big, it's hard to see, so I'm gonna have to do a vaginal ultrasound, like you're not as far along as we think.
Yeah.
So they did that vaginal ultrasound. The baby was measuring like 6 weeks one day. She's like, are you sure? She's like, your period probably was just irregular. You ovulated because you came off birth control, so like your cycle still wasn't good. And so she's like, you're only 6 weeks along. And like the whole time, like I'm thinking like, there's no way, because we tested positive so early. So after we met with a nurse, and they're like, come back in 3 weeks and we'll do another ultrasound to look at the measurements and make sure everything's progressing like it should. And Chris and I just like felt like something was wrong. We didn't really ask any questions because I feel like we were just like in shock and like didn't really know what to ask then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like being in that ultrasound room is so hard for us.
Yeah, it was difficult the entire time we were in there, just feeling like something was wrong.
Yeah.
Something bad was going on.
Yeah, because it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And we, like, that ultrasound room is so hard for us because we had a hard pregnancy with Max. And we had to go get an ultrasound like 2 or 3 times a week to just make sure everything was okay. And like each time we went in with Max, we were like, okay, this could be the day that things aren't right on the ultrasound. We have to go deliver him early and be like in the NICU with him. And so like just that whole pregnancy was super stressful, just being in that room, like, is this the day we're gonna become parents? So like going in with this pregnancy and things not being how we thought they were gonna be is just like brought back all those stressful like emotions being in that room. We just like went to our car and just like sat there and just like cried, and just like we just didn't feel like anything was like, it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And we're just, yeah, but like there's nothing anyone can do, and so that's really hard too.
I'd say that was probably the hardest part.
Not being able to do anything. Yeah. So I'll play the video right now of us in the car just trying to process everything that we just learned. I don't even know how to start. So, not good news, not bad news. The baby's measuring super small.
They also couldn't get a heartbeat on it because it was so small.
Yeah, so the baby's measuring like 6 weeks when it's like, based on my period, it's supposed to be like closer to 9. So yeah, lots of emotions going on. So as you can see, we didn't really know what to think. Our emotions are everywhere. We're just trying to process it. We don't really know what to say. So then we scheduled an appointment to go back like 3 weeks. But about a week later, I started getting some spotting. And then I'm like I didn't get spotting with Max. So it's kind of like I'm trying not to think the worst, but I am thinking the worst. But it's just like a tiny bit of spotting. And then like for a few hours, like nothing happened. And then like a little bit more spotting. So it was like very like little, like not a lot of blood. And then a few days later, the blood started to get heavier, like the bleeding got heavier and there was more clots and stuff. And it was a weekend. And so I called the line, like the helpline, and talked to the doctor that was on call. And she said, like, it sounds like you're having a miscarriage. And like, my heart just like dropped. Like, I like felt like I did something wrong. Like, yeah, I went and told Chris and I was just like sobbing. And then he just like held me and we just like cried together. And oh, it was very hard just like hearing that. And then like also like you're like, when you're having a miscarriage, like you're bleeding a lot and it's like way heavier and different than like a period, because it's like more clotty. Sorry, it's getting a little graphic, but it's just like bigger clots and it's in like pretty heavy bleeding, but it's like darker. I don't know. It's, and you're cramping and it's just super painful. So then we went through the weekend. The bleeding kind of got heavy, so I called the doctor on Monday. And they wanted to schedule an ultrasound and just an appointment to just like see how things were going, because they were concerned about how much I was bleeding. I'd called them because I was soaking through like 2 or 3 pads in an hour, and you're only supposed to soak through like 1 pad for like 2, I don't know. It's like you're not supposed to bleed that much, and it was like over like several hours that I was bleeding that much. Like if you bleed that much for like 2 hours and then it slows down, then that's okay. But like I was just like consistently bleeding a lot. So they just wanted to see if I had passed the baby yet. So they did an ultrasound, which they had to do a vaginal ultrasound. I'm bleeding all over the place because it's heavy bleeding, so it's just awful. It was just awful. And you're cramping and in pain, and they're like pushing up around in there, and it's just not fun, especially when you're going through that and it's emotional as it is. Chris was there with me the whole time, thank goodness. I don't think I could have done that part alone. But they, like when we had our first ultrasound, they could like see the baby's heart beating. They just couldn't, because we were only 6 weeks, so it's hard for them to get like a reading to like get the heartbeat or whatever, like the beats per minute or whatever it's called. They couldn't get that reading, but you could see the heart beating. And then when they did this ultrasound, like you could see that the heart wasn't beating anymore. The ultrasound tech was super quiet the whole time, wasn't really saying much to us. I know they're not really supposed to, but like you could just tell like it was not good. So yeah, so we went and met with the doctor after that. And when she came in, like you could just tell it was not going to be good news, which we already knew that, but just like her like confirming the miscarriage was super hard. Yeah, it just made it so real. She's like, the baby's heart stopped beating, like, you're definitely having a miscarriage and there's nothing we can do. And she's like, there's nothing that you did, this just happens. It actually happens a lot more than I thought. It happens in 1 in 5 pregnancies end in a miscarriage. We just thought we'd share our story just to let people know, like, what it's like, and like we just want to share our journey. Like, this is something we went through, and we want to just be open and honest with everyone, and yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't fun to go through, but it happens for a reason, and yeah, we got through it, and it was difficult.
It was very, very emotional. They said that it was most likely like a chromosome anomaly, I think is what they said.
Yeah, just something didn't line up, and
yeah, like,
it wasn't gonna make it.
The doctor at that appointment confirmed the miscarriage, and she's like, so there's 2 options that you can do, or 3 options that you can do when you're having a miscarriage. She gave me 2 options because she was worried about the bleeding. But the 3 options are, you can have a D&C, which is where, like, a surgical procedure where they go in and get everything out. You can take, like, a pill, you just, like, shove it up there, and then it, like, starts contractions and then kind of clears everything out quicker. Or you can just let it happen naturally. She didn't think that we should let it happen naturally because she was concerned about all the bleeding that I was having. So we decided, and I didn't want to, like, experiencing the bleeding and everything, like, coming out in clumps and clots, like, it's just horrible. And, like, each time, like, you're just like, was that the baby? And for me, like, I did not want it to happen naturally. I didn't want to see it, even though it's so small, but I just, that was not for me. So I decided to do the D&C. We thought that was the best option for us. So they did blood work that night at the hospital. I went in and got blood work because they were going to do it the next morning. They wanted to do it as soon as possible because of the bleeding. So I go in, get all the pre-surgery screenings, COVID test, blah, blah, blah. We go, and we pick up Max because he's been at my parents' this whole time because it was just like one big, long appointment and then over to the hospital to do tests and blood work. So we go to pick up Max. Max is running around at my parents', and I get a phone call from the doctor, probably like instructions, I'm thinking, for the D&C the next day. And she calls me, she's like, so has the hospital called you yet? I'm like, no. She's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to do things a little bit differently tomorrow because you tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
I'm just like in shock. She's like, did you know you had COVID? Do you have any symptoms? I'm like, no. Like, I had no idea. Like, I would not have been like going to the doctor or like going into the hospital to get tests, like exposing, like I was wearing my mask and stuff the whole time, but I was just in shock. I like get off the phone. I'm like trying to keep my distance from everyone that was at my parents' house. And I'm just like, I have COVID. And everyone's like, no, you don't. I'm like, yeah, the doctor just called me and told me that I had COVID. And everyone's like, oh my God, what do we do? Like, crap. Like, we're exposed to you right now. So we all kind of like quarantined. Everyone got tested. Everyone was negative. I was the only one who ended up getting it. But so going in then for the D&C, like everyone was in a hazmat suit. They came out to the car and got me, took me in. I was like in this isolated wing of the hospital. They have like the hallways zipped off. It's like very limited people can come into your room. So like the anesthesiologist didn't come see me before. It was just one nurse that was with me, like helping me get prepped the whole time. And then like the doctor didn't even come see me before. Like I just met everyone in the OR before the procedure. Going through like a miscarriage is hard enough, but then to have COVID and have to be like separated and isolated from your family, like it was very, very hard.
Yeah.
And then when I got home, I just like isolated myself in the room and in our master bedroom. We have like bathroom in our master, so I was like just isolated. Chris would bring me food. Max would like knock on the door and be like, "Mama, mama." So that was hard. And just like, it was nice to have like the rest after, but it was also like, I just wanted to hug Chris and like have him comfort me, because it was like going through, that was really, really hard.
Yeah, it was not easy at all to be isolated, especially going through all of that. Yeah, but after a few days, I think we just kind of called it. It was just too difficult.
Yeah, Max. And I ended up only like losing my taste and smell. I didn't really have any other symptoms besides that. No one else that I was around tested positive, so that was good. Yeah. Anything else?
It was just difficult. I mean, nothing about it is easy, but I mean, after a while, things do get better, and you kind of understand that it happened for a reason, and you know,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of point to just keep dwelling on it, but just to learn from it and kind of move forward from there.
Yeah. Everyone feels differently about their miscarriage, and for us, like what we like tried to think, and it was a lot harder going through it at the time, but now that we've kind of moved past all like the heavy emotions of losing the pregnancy, but like who knows what would have happened if the baby did develop, what kind of life it would have had, if it had something wrong with it and it didn't develop properly. So we just kind of like, it happened for a reason, like everything's gonna be okay. After that, I did go on birth control for a little bit. I'm off birth control now. We're not like actively like trying, but we're not preventing it. So whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
We're excited.
Yeah.
Max wants a brother or sister. He just wants to bring a baby home.
Yeah, I think he's probably more excited than we are.
Yeah, he is. Even though he doesn't know what he's getting into.
Yep.
He always tells us that the baby's gonna sleep in our room.
Yep.
Yeah. So, thanks you guys for watching this. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. Or if you are going through this and you want to talk about it, like reach out. Like, I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Thanks you guys for watching.
Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Our videos hopefully won't be this sad from now on.
Yep. See you guys later.
I wanna stay in your sunlight.